Hi everyone, and welcome. Tonight we will talk about food, one of the most fascinating and essential parts of human life that nourishes our bodies and connects cultures around the world. Food is more than simple sustenance. It carries history, science, tradition, and creativity within every ingredient and every meal. So get comfortable, relax, maybe close your eyes, and simply listen. Let's begin our calm journey into the fascinating world of food. The ancient origins of food and the first human meals. Food has always been more than simple nourishment. For humans, it has been a quiet companion throughout the entire history of our species. Long before cities, technology, or written language appeared, early humans were already developing a deep relationship with food. It shaped where people lived, how they traveled, and even how communities formed. The earliest human diets were incredibly diverse and depended largely on the surrounding environment. In forests, early humans gathered fruits, nuts, roots, and edible leaves. Near rivers and oceans, fish and shellfish became an important part of daily meals. On open plains, people hunted animals such as deer, antelope, and wild cattle. These foods were not chosen randomly. Over thousands of years, humans learned which plants were nutritious, which were poisonous, and which could be stored for later use. One of the most remarkable turning points in the history of food happened around 1 million years ago when early humans began to control fire. Cooking food changed everything. Heat made meat softer and easier to chew, grains easier to digest, and many plants safer to eat. Scientists believe that cooking allowed humans to extract more energy from food, which may have helped support the growth of the human brain. Cooking also introduced something new into human life: flavor. When food is heated, natural chemical reactions occur that create aromas and tastes that are much richer than raw ingredients alone. Roasted meat, toasted seeds, and baked roots would have produced comforting smells that gathered people around the fire. In this way, food slowly became a social experience as well as a biological necessity. Over time, early humans began to notice patterns in nature. Certain plants grew in the same places each year. Animals followed seasonal migrations. By observing these cycles, people gradually became more skilled at finding and preparing food. This knowledge was passed down through generations, forming some of the earliest traditions of human culture. Eventually, around 10,000 years ago, humans made another peaceful but revolutionary discovery: agriculture. Instead of only gathering wild plants, people began planting seeds intentionally. Grains such as wheat, barley, and rice became some of the first cultivated crops. This shift allowed communities to settle in one place, creating villages that would later grow into cities. With agriculture came the first real kitchens of human civilization. Clay pots were invented for boiling grains and soups. Stone tools were used for grinding seeds into flour. Early ovens made it possible to bake simple breads. These foods were basic by modern standards, but they represented a profound change in human life. Food was no longer something that had to be constantly searched for. It could now be grown, stored, shared, and prepared in increasingly creative ways. This quiet transformation laid the foundation for the enormous diversity of foods we enjoy today. Even now, when we prepare a meal, we are continuing traditions that began thousands of years ago. Every loaf of bread, bowl of soup, or piece of fruit carries a story that connects modern life with the earliest chapters of human history. In a gentle way, food reminds us that despite all technological progress, humans still depend on the same simple gifts of nature: plants growing in the soil, animals moving across the land, and the patient work of preparing something nourishing to eat. The quiet diversity of food around the world. Food is one of the most beautiful reflections of the diversity of life on Earth. Across continents, climates, and cultures, people have learned to transform simple ingredients into an astonishing variety of meals. Although humans share the same basic nutritional needs, the ways in which food is grown, prepared, and enjoyed differ greatly from one place to another. One reason for this diversity is geography. The natural environment determines which plants grow well and which animals thrive in a particular region. In tropical areas, for example, fruits such as mangoes, bananas, coconuts, and papayas grow abundantly. These foods often form the foundation of many local dishes and provide natural sweetness and refreshing flavors. In cooler climates, grains and root vegetables have historically played a larger role in daily meals. Wheat, barley, oats, and rye became staples across much of Europe and parts of Asia. These grains are versatile and can be transformed into breads, porridges, noodles, and countless other comforting foods that have sustained communities for centuries. Rice is another remarkable example of how one ingredient can shape entire cultures. Grown across much of Asia for thousands of years, rice became the foundation of meals for billions of people. In some cultures it is steamed and served simply, while in others it is transformed into fragrant dishes mixed with herbs, vegetables, and spices. Spices and herbs also play a quiet but powerful role in shaping the character of food. Small amounts of plants such as basil, ginger, turmeric, cinnamon, or garlic can completely change the aroma and taste of a dish. For centuries, these ingredients traveled along ancient trade routes, connecting distant civilizations through shared flavors. Cooking techniques vary just as much as ingredients. In some traditions, food is gently steamed to preserve its natural texture and nutrients. In others, slow simmering allows flavors to blend gradually over time. Baking, roasting, fermenting, and grilling all represent different ways humans have learned to work with heat and time to create satisfying meals. Fermentation, in particular, is one of the most fascinating culinary processes. By allowing natural microorganisms to transform foods, humans discovered ways to preserve ingredients and create entirely new flavors. Yogurt, cheese, bread, kimchi, and many other beloved foods all emerged from this ancient technique. Despite the enormous variety of global cuisines, many meals share a comforting simplicity. A bowl of soup, a loaf of bread, a plate of rice, or a dish of roasted vegetables can be found in some form in nearly every culture. These foods remind us that nourishment does not always require complexity. Often, the most satisfying meals are built from a few simple ingredients prepared with care. Food also reflects the rhythm of the seasons. Fresh fruits appear in summer, hearty grains and root vegetables become more common in colder months, and certain foods are traditionally prepared during special celebrations or gatherings. In this way, food quietly connects human life with the changing cycles of nature. Across the world, the diversity of food tells the story of human creativity and adaptation. From tropical orchards to mountain farms and coastal villages, people have learned to work with their environment to create meals that are both nourishing and deeply meaningful. And yet, despite all these differences, the experience of sharing food remains one of the most universal aspects of being human. Around tables, fires, and kitchens everywhere, food continues to bring people together in simple, peaceful moments of daily life. The quiet science behind taste and flavor. Food may appear simple on the surface, but behind every flavor lies a fascinating world of biology and chemistry. The human experience of taste is the result of an intricate interaction between our senses, our brain, and the natural compounds found in food. Understanding how taste works reveals why certain foods feel comforting, exciting, or deeply satisfying. The human tongue can detect several basic tastes: sweet, salty, sour, bitter, and umami. Each of these tastes signals something important about the food we are eating. Sweetness often indicates energy-rich sugars that provide fuel for the body. Saltiness reflects the presence of minerals essential for nerve function and fluid balance. Sourness usually comes from natural acids found in fruits and fermented foods. Bitterness has an especially interesting role. Many bitter compounds in nature are produced by plants as a defense mechanism. Because of this, humans evolved to detect bitterness as a warning signal. However, over time people learned that some bitter foods, such as cocoa, coffee, and certain vegetables, can be both safe and enjoyable when prepared properly. Umami, sometimes described as a savory or rich taste, is associated with amino acids found in foods such as mushrooms, aged cheeses, tomatoes, and broths. This taste was only formally identified by scientists in the early 20th century, but humans have appreciated it for thousands of years in slow-cooked soups and fermented foods. Taste alone, however, is only part of the story. Much of what we perceive as flavor actually comes from smell. When we eat, aromatic molecules travel from the mouth to the nasal cavity, where scent receptors help the brain identify complex combinations of flavors. This is why foods often seem less flavorful when we have a cold and our sense of smell is reduced. Texture also plays a quiet but important role in how food is experienced. The crispness of fresh vegetables, the softness of bread, the creaminess of yogurt, or the smoothness of melted chocolate all influence how satisfying a meal feels. These physical sensations are detected by tiny nerve endings inside the mouth that respond to pressure, temperature, and movement. Temperature can change flavor as well. Warm foods often release stronger aromas, making soups, baked bread, and roasted dishes smell particularly inviting. Cold foods, such as fruits or desserts, tend to feel refreshing and light. The balance between temperature, aroma, and texture shapes the overall sensory experience of eating. Interestingly, the brain also plays a role in shaping taste through memory and emotion. Foods associated with pleasant experiences, family meals, celebrations, or comforting routines, can feel especially enjoyable even years later. In this way, taste becomes connected not only to chemistry but also to personal history. Scientists continue to study how the human body perceives flavor, and new discoveries are still being made about taste receptors, aroma compounds, and the ways our brains interpret sensory information. Yet despite all the complexity involved, the experience of eating remains remarkably simple. A warm meal, a fresh piece of fruit, or a cup of tea can quietly activate thousands of sensory signals at once, creating a moment of calm enjoyment. Behind every bite lies an invisible network of biology and chemistry working together to transform simple ingredients into the rich world of flavor that humans have cherished for millennia. The slow art of cooking through time. Cooking is one of the oldest creative activities practiced by humans. Long before written recipes or modern kitchens existed, people were already experimenting with ways to prepare food that made it more enjoyable, nourishing, and easier to eat. Over thousands of years, cooking gradually transformed from a basic survival skill into a quiet art that reflects culture, tradition, and patience. One of the earliest cooking methods was roasting food over open fire. Archaeological evidence suggests that early humans placed meat, fish, and roots directly over flames or hot stones. The heat softened tough fibers and created rich aromas that raw food did not possess. Even today, roasting remains one of the simplest and most satisfying cooking techniques used across many cultures. Another ancient method is boiling. Once humans began creating clay pots, they discovered that water could be heated to cook grains, vegetables, and meat slowly. This method allowed ingredients to soften gradually and absorb flavors from herbs or other foods in the pot. Many traditional soups and stews around the world still follow this same principle. Steaming also became an important cooking technique in many regions. By suspending food above hot water, people could cook delicate ingredients gently without direct contact with flame. This method helps preserve natural textures and nutrients, which is why it remains popular in many traditional cuisines today. Over time, people learned that cooking could be slow and patient rather than fast and intense. Slow cooking allows flavors to develop gradually as ingredients release their natural oils and aromas. Dishes such as long-simmered broths, braised meats, and slow-baked breads demonstrate how time itself can become an ingredient in the cooking process. Baking is another remarkable step in the history of food preparation. Early ovens made from clay or stone allowed people to cook food in enclosed spaces filled with steady heat. This innovation led to the creation of breads, pastries, and other baked foods that became staples in many cultures. Across the world, cooking methods often reflect the natural environment and available resources. In desert regions, foods may be cooked in buried earth ovens where heat is trapped beneath sand and stones. In forested areas, cooking over wood fires has been common for centuries. Coastal communities often develop techniques for grilling or drying fish using sea air and sunlight. Despite all these variations, cooking shares a universal purpose, transforming simple ingredients into something nourishing and comforting. The act of preparing food invites patience and attention. Ingredients are washed, chopped, heated, stirred, and combined in ways that gradually build flavor and texture. In many homes, cooking also becomes a quiet daily ritual. The sound of simmering soup, the gentle rhythm of chopping vegetables, or the aroma of bread baking in the oven can create moments of calm and familiarity. These small sensory experiences often become some of the most comforting parts of everyday life. Throughout history, cooking has connected generations. Techniques and recipes are passed from parents to children, teachers to students, and communities to future generations. In this way, the art of cooking becomes a living tradition that carries knowledge forward through time. Even in a world filled with modern technology and fast convenience, the simple act of preparing a meal remains deeply meaningful. Cooking reminds us that patience, care, and creativity can transform the most basic ingredients into something that nourishes both body and mind. The gentle role of food in culture and human connection. Throughout human history, food has been much more than a source of nutrition. It has quietly shaped traditions, celebrations, and the ways people gather together. Across cultures and centuries, meals have served as moments where families reconnect, communities celebrate, and stories are shared. In many societies, food plays a central role in important life events. Weddings, seasonal festivals, and family gatherings often include special dishes that are prepared only for those occasions. These meals are not just about taste. They symbolize continuity, belonging, and the passing of traditions from one generation to another. Many traditional recipes have been preserved for hundreds, sometimes even thousands, of years. These recipes often carry the memory of ancestors who carefully refined them over time. Small details, such as the exact combination of herbs, the length of cooking, or the way ingredients are prepared, are passed down through families like quiet pieces of living history. Food also acts as a cultural language. Different regions of the world have developed unique culinary identities shaped by climate, geography, and local resources. Mediterranean cuisine, for example, often highlights olive oil, fresh vegetables, and seafood, reflecting the coastal environments where these foods are abundant. In other regions, grains, root vegetables, or fermented foods form the foundation of traditional meals. Shared meals are one of the simplest ways people build connections. Sitting around a table allows conversation to unfold naturally while everyone participates in the same experience. This act of sharing food encourages patience, listening, and a sense of togetherness that is difficult to replicate in other parts of daily life. Anthropologists often note that communal eating may have played a role in strengthening early human societies. Preparing and sharing meals required cooperation, trust, and communication. Over time, these simple gatherings helped reinforce social bonds and create stable communities. Food traditions also reflect the rhythm of the seasons. Many cultures celebrate harvest periods with meals that highlight fresh ingredients gathered from fields, forests, or oceans. Seasonal dishes remind people of their connection to the natural world and the cycles that sustain life. Even in modern cities where food from all over the world is easily available, traditional dishes continue to hold special meaning. A meal prepared in the same way a grandparent once made it can evoke powerful memories and emotions. The smell of a familiar dish cooking in the kitchen can instantly bring back moments from childhood. In recent years, people around the world have also become increasingly interested in rediscovering traditional cooking techniques and regional foods. Farmers' markets, local ingredients, and home cooking are gaining renewed appreciation as people seek slower and more mindful ways of eating. Ultimately, food remains one of the most universal forms of human connection. No matter where people live or what language they speak, the act of sharing a meal creates a moment of calm cooperation. It invites people to pause, enjoy the present moment, and appreciate the simple comfort of nourishment. In this quiet way, food continues to unite cultures, families, and communities, reminding us that even the most ordinary meal can become a meaningful part of human life. The quiet future of food and the endless creativity of human cooking. Food has always evolved alongside human civilization. From the first fires used by early humans to the modern kitchens of today, the story of food is also the story of human curiosity and creativity. As societies continue to change, the ways people grow, prepare, and understand food are quietly evolving as well. One of the most important developments in the future of food is the growing awareness of sustainability. For thousands of years, humans relied directly on the natural balance of ecosystems for nourishment. Today, scientists and farmers are working together to rediscover methods that allow food to be produced while protecting soil, water, and biodiversity. Many farmers are returning to practices that work with nature rather than against it. Techniques such as crop rotation, natural soil restoration, and mixed farming help maintain healthy land while producing nutritious foods. These methods are not entirely new. In many ways, they reflect agricultural wisdom that traditional farmers practiced long before modern technology. Another quiet transformation is happening in the way people think about ingredients. Around the world, chefs and home cooks are rediscovering forgotten grains, vegetables, and regional plants that once played an important role in local diets. Ancient grains such as millet, spelt, and amaranth are gaining attention again for their resilience and nutritional value. Technology is also helping humans understand food in new ways. Advances in food science allow researchers to study flavor compounds, nutrients, and cooking processes with remarkable precision. This knowledge helps improve food preservation, safety, and quality while allowing chefs to experiment with new textures and flavors. At the same time, many people are returning to simple cooking practices. Home gardening, baking bread, fermenting vegetables, and preparing meals from fresh ingredients have become increasingly popular. These activities provide not only nourishment but also a sense of calm, patience, and connection with everyday life. Food culture is also becoming more global than ever before. Ingredients, recipes, and culinary ideas now travel easily across continents. A single meal might combine traditions from many parts of the world, reflecting the growing exchange of knowledge between cultures. Yet despite all these innovations, the essence of food remains surprisingly unchanged. At its core, food still begins with the same elements that have sustained life for millions of years: soil, water, sunlight, and living plants. These quiet natural processes continue to provide the foundation for every meal humans enjoy. Food also continues to inspire creativity. Chefs, farmers, and home cooks constantly explore new ways to combine ingredients, refine techniques, and share flavors. Each generation adds its own ideas to the long story of human cooking. In a gentle way, food reminds us that progress does not always mean abandoning the past. Often it means learning from tradition while discovering new possibilities. The future of food will likely combine ancient knowledge with modern science in ways that support both human health and the natural world. Perhaps this is one of the most calming aspects of food. No matter how much the world changes, people will continue to gather around meals, grow ingredients from the earth, and prepare dishes that nourish both body and mind. And so the story of food continues, quietly, patiently, and endlessly, through every kitchen, every garden, and every shared meal across the world.